well, all right, I'm gonna do this part first. This goes after she broke my fucking glasses. Just letting y'all know where we're at, context-wise.
Ladies and gentlemen, John Bruton!
I started here over a decade ago, which is very... I don't know if that's a great thing to say or not. Because like, I had a whole image in my head of how my life would be. And being 40 now is not what I thought it would be. Like, I don't have any regrets, nothing like that. It's just I thought when I would be 40, shit would be different. Like I at least have hair still. That's one thing. That shit snuck up on me. I thought, you got an afro, oh my God, it's the worst. Like, I was fighting it too, because like, when I first was losing my hair, I didn't know it yet. I thought it was getting slimmer, getting a little thin up top, but I didn't know it was bad until I was coaching summer league. I was coaching eighth grade basketball, right? And one of the moms recording her son. I called a timeout. She's still recording her son. She pans over to me in a timeout with my head down holding the clipboard, and she's showing me the video. We watch the video, and when we get to me, we collectively just look at the shit and say, I was like, all right, I need to see that. And then when I saw it, I instantly like, man, my barber is an asshole. Like he didn't say anything. And then I thought about it. Like the more I thought about how my barber, he kind of knew the end was near. He just didn't tell me. Like he would drop hints though. Because every time I come to the barber shop, he would instantly start doing other stuff. He would get preoccupied. He would always return his phone calls. He missed early with the other clients. Like, say I come in there, he put his phone out, start calling people back, and he got an iPhone this slim, head tilted the whole time, cutting my head. Like, oh, I ain't doing shit, man. I might be out here in a minute. I'm wrapping up right now, man. I'm about to be out of here. Yeah, I'm almost done right now. I can hear him the whole time saying this shit. I'm like, bro, can you please focus a little bit and take a little bit of be delicate a little bit with this shit. He didn't care. I knew he didn't care, because he gave me change after the haircut, which I didn't know what to do. I gave him $40, and he gave me $15 back. And I'm like, yo, man, what's this for? I'm like, oh, man, I can't charge you full price for half the job. I said, all right, man. So I'm like, I'm done. I'm never gonna be here again. I would have cut my hair off all right then and there, but I couldn't because my cousin had a wedding coming up, and I was the best man. So I wanted to go to the wedding, but I had to go to Cleveland. I will say it's about being from Cleveland and going bald. You don't really have to, because we have some of the most magical barbers in the country. Our barbers are so good, they're the reason we got an NBA championship on the low. Serious. Think about it, when LeBron was in Miami, that headband was getting bigger and it was moving back. His second season back in Cleveland, he was wearing a fucking do-rag on TV. Like that's how great he was, that's how comfortable and happy he was with the new shit on his head when Cleveland got to him. So I found a barber. I hit up all my friends who might know. So I'm like, yo, who should I go to? You gotta go to see JT. So I'm like, I'm gonna see JT. I go see the JT dude. I get to the barbershop, it was like every other barbershop, except when I got in the chair, he cut a ring light on behind me, and then he put his tripod out in front of the chair and then put his phone on there, and then he did some wild shit. He like, yeah, I be out here saving niggas' hairlines. I'm like, hold on now. You're not gonna be on camera, bro. Nah. I am not gonna be a case study, sir. I will not be on Instagram with some before and after shit. Nah, man, I'm off. I need some confidentiality with your clients, my man. You can't be doing this shit to me. So he put the camera away, and he cut me up regular. And it was a regular haircut at first, and then he got an index card, and he placed it on my forehead. And then I heard a and I felt this wet, cold shit just trickling on my head. And I jumped at first. I'm like, maybe this maybe it's conditioner or some shit, I don't know. He keep cutting me up still. And then after the haircut, he turned the chair around to the mirror. And for years, I would always think, when I saw those makeover shows, they was always being dramatic and acting up and all that shit. Like, that's not how you really gonna act. When I seen my 27-year-old hairline again on top of my head, a single Denzel tear came down my eye. I started hugging this random shit, like, man, thank you so much for saving my hairline. Thank you so much. You do save hairlines. Thank you. I was so excited. I went to the store and bought a do-rag that night with no shame. Had the flap hanging and everything. And then the wedding was the next day. The only problem about going to the wedding was all of these people knew me before yesterday. So they all saw the bullshit. And all the women at the wedding were so supportive and nice, like, oh my God, you look so good, give me like gassing me up. But all of my friends that were the groomsmen were being very honest. They weren't saying anything, they were just being very passive aggressive, because every time I would look at them, I would catch them just staring at my forehead as if my teeth was hanging out or some shit. I'm like, yo, fellas, my eyes are down here, please stop, respect me, okay, come on. We took the pictures though. I got through the whole day. We took the pictures, nothing went wrong until we got to the reception, and I got confused, and I messed everything up. Because one of our boys was like, yo, man, where we meet Derek at? I said, where the fuck we meet Derek? I did a little scratch, and I could hear the crunch when I scratched. I'm like, crunch. I was like, oh, that's not right. I looked at my fingernail, and I saw all those little fucking microfibers stuck under my nail and shit. So I ran to the bathroom, and I tried to text all the bridesmaids, like, hey, anybody got an eyebrow pencil or something to come give me a touch-up to help me out? They didn't have one. I had to leave out of there. And driving home made me realize, man, you old, bro. You gotta accept this shit. And I didn't want to accept being old. Like, being 40 is not the oldest, but you can't do young shit, because everybody younger than 40 tells you, like, that's the fucking cancer or some shit. Like, I was at Starbucks, and I found out I was old for the first time. I'm sitting at Starbucks outside on my phone. These 3 young men come out of Starbucks. They look confused. And I hear one of them say, yo, ask the old nigga. And in my head, when I hear that, I'm like, oh, it gotta be some Morgan Freeman civil rights leader motherfucker behind me or something. So I'm just in my phone still scrolling. Then I get on top of my shoulder, and I look over, and he's like, excuse me, sir, what the fuck you want? What? He just needed directions and shit. I gave him some directions, then he dug that knife a little deeper. He was like, oh, thanks, Unc. I said, hold on now, I don't need no, you ain't no kin to me, young man. Get the fuck out of here, though. But being old is, I don't know, they don't respect my age anymore. Like, we don't have a cool name. We don't have like a generation A, B, C. We don't got none of that cool shit. We just call millennials. And that name is garbage. Like, it sounds like an old car my mom used to have or something. Like a Ford 88 Millennial or some shit. I don't want to be called a millennial. And I've been through stuff, like being 40 and over, you've been through at least 3 end of the worlds. I know I have. I've been through 3 end of the worlds in my age. My first end of the world was when HIV came out. I was 10 years old when that shit happened. It was the summer of '92. And I'm like, what the fuck? Nobody knew how HIV was gonna hit, because I was a child still. I just seen it from a distance. Like, I remember watching Real World when Pedro was going away. Like, it was the first season of Real World, a guy named Pedro was on there. He had HIV. And they kept showing him on every season, every episode, getting skinnier and skinnier. Then one day he just faded to a black and white picture with his dates underneath it. And I'm like, what the fuck happened to Pedro? Oh shit, HIV killing people. Then I heard about Greg Louganis, the Olympic swimmer. He couldn't swim anymore because of HIV. And Eazy-E couldn't live anymore because of HIV. And I wasn't really a rap fan back then, but I seen the movie Straight Outta Compton, and on the movie, Eazy-E just coughed like one scene, like, Next scene, they had a fucking funeral for this dude. I'm like, what? HIV is wild. I think the one that really threw me off and confused me about HIV was Magic Johnson. When he got it, I was a kid. I was my favorite basketball player. He couldn't play basketball anymore. I'm like, oh shit, what the fuck happened to Magic? And I was outside one day, I heard these 2 guys talking. They're like, yeah, you heard about the Magic? Oh man, yeah, he got the monster. Yeah, you know how he got it, don't you? Yeah, man, he got too much coochie. And I heard that. I had questions. Because my brother had just came home a couple of days prior, and he told me he got some coochie, and I'm like, oh shit, where you coming from? Oh, I got some coochie, you gonna love it. I'm like, oh shit. So I heard it, Magic got too much coochie. I got questions. Because I'm like, how much coochie is too much coochie? Because I just want to wet my whistle and see what the hype is about. But I don't want an AIDS level of coochie. I just want enough to just see what's up. 2 kids later, no HIV, I guess. And I don't know what's better sometimes, because parenting, I see what that is. There's no commercials for parenting at all. Nobody say, hey, be a father, it's great. Nobody has a commercial for that shit. But HIV has so many commercials now. Like, what? They got a little pill to fight HIV and shit. I'm like, God damn, it looks so much fun to get HIV now. Those guys be having a good time, laughing with their friends and shit. I seen one where there was 2 guys on a bike right in front of a beachfront. I said, that looks so goddamn fun. With these goddamn kids, ain't no fun with these goddamn, man. I remember the first time I actually tried to get some coochie. It was still the same year. It was this time, instead of being 92, this is New Year's 93. And my mom and dad are having this New Year's Eve party, so my mom's coworkers are there, and my mom's coworker had this pretty daughter I liked, so I had a crush on her. So at the New Year's Eve shit, I wrote a little love letter to her, because during Dick Clark's New Year's Eve, Rockin' New Year's Eve, there was a band on there called Color Me Bad, and they had a song called I Wanna Sex You Up. Now, I'm only 11, and I already know what sex is all the way, but I know I wanna do it. So, so I wrote on this piece of paper, I wanna sex you up. And I gave it to her, she opened it, and she walked away. So I'm like, shit, that wasn't even like a real rejection right there. That was just quiet. I don't know, you know. Shoot shots, you don't make them sometimes, you know. I go throughout the whole day, don't think nothing of it. Then 1:30 in the morning comes, everybody's leaving. I walk past the kitchen, and her mom grabs me by the ear and pulls me into the kitchen. And my mom is standing behind her with her arms folded. Then she pulls up the piece of paper. And I'm like, finally some feedback. So then her mom was like, did you write this letter? And I was always taught not to lie to adults. So I'm like, yeah, I wrote it. I was like, you want to have sex with my daughter? I'm like, yeah. And then my mom, she sees that I'm just answering these questions very straight, but she's like, what the fuck? Then she asked me, do you know what sex is? I'm like, it's called doing it, right? That's all I know. I ain't know nothing about it. I thought you just, I want to do it. I ain't know what that meant. That just sound fun though. So they're so like, they're just sad that I was that stupid, but scary. Cause she thought I was trying to make a move, but so my mom, she thought it was an outside influence that made me do this shit. She thought it was rap music that made me write this letter. So my mom said, you cannot listen to any more rap music. She messed that one up badly. So all my friends are growing up calling girls bitches and all this other wild shit. I am over here growing up thinking that I just want to bump and grind, ain't nothing wrong with that. And I want to make love to you. Trying to tongue kiss, all kind of shit. So I'm out here. Consequence ain't fit, that's all I'm saying. This is my second end of the world. Oh, my second end of the world happened, 9/11 terrorist attack. When that happened, I was a senior in high school. Senior in high school. I just turned 18, and we had George W. Bush as the president. Now, if you think Trump was wild, you have no fucking idea how the world works. Bush was so crazy, he lost the second election, and we kept him in the White House because he would have blew more shit up. We were scared of this man. He was the first president we hated, for real. I'm serious, like if you think about any other president we had before, like Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was shot in broad daylight in New York by a US citizen. Secret Service saw this, they arrested the man, got Reagan to the hospital, saved his life. George Bush, post 9/11, was in a whole nother country. A brown man stood up during a press conference while George Bush is talking, saying his lies. The brown man stands up, says some shit in his native tongue, and throws a shoe at George Bush in the middle of his press conference. All George Bush did was slightly duck the shoe and kept reading the fucking lines. And nobody stopped him. Nobody said, get that man. Even some Secret Service agent was in the back like, wait, young man. He has two shoes, see what happens. And lo and behold, he took that second shoe off. And he didn't sit down and move around. He was standing right where he was standing before. George Bush saw him this time. They're making eye contact. And George, he squared his shoulders off like, come on. He threw the second shoe. He ducked him, kept reading the fucking lines. So I'm like, this is our president. I know for sure he loves war way too much. We're gonna have a goddamn draft. I'm 18 now, so I'm like, I don't wanna fucking go to no goddamn draft. My dad was a cop. So I took his gun, and I'm in the bathroom, and I'm looking at my foot, thinking, how did Eddie Murphy shoot Dela Reese in the pinky toe in Harlem Nights to make her the limpingest hoe in Harlem? I didn't have to go to war, thank God, but I wouldn't have went no matter what. Fuck that shit. And then my third end of the world, we all been through it in one way, shape, or form, was COVID. But for me, COVID was strange because it was at the worst time of my life. I was on tour, I was having a great time, and my girl just told me she was pregnant on March 12th. Then March 14th, I get the news that the world is shutting down and it's quarantine. Now, the thing that fucked me up was when she told me she was pregnant, I'm like, oh, that's great, move in. But then the world shut down. I was like, fuck, I could have rethought that. I should have thought about that a little bit more. Because I didn't mind her living in the house, but just, you only can raise one person. So I can't raise her. I got the baby I got to raise. So that's cool, but boy, oh boy, over time, it's been a thing. I don't know how it works, but marriage looks hard now. I asked my dad how he do it. He said he stopped talking to my mom 10 years ago. I said, oh, okay. Okay, I'm gonna try that. Because when she first moved in, I was moving all that stuff, because she's pregnant now, so she ain't really helping me move shit. She's just trying to give me like superficial, like, hey, move it over here, move it over here. I'm like, okay. But only problem was, I'm not built like a mover, you know? I'm moving shit, but I'm not built for it. I'm not in the shape to be doing this, and I got asthma too, so I'm taking my mask down a lot while we're moving stuff in. She cooks dinner for the first night she's in the house. I come home, because I know she told me the dinner's ready. I'm like, oh shit, I'm about to pull up. I pull up to the house, I walk in the house, and I get nervous because I can't smell anything. And I don't know, Fauci said, if you can't smell anything, it's a sign of a symptom. So I'm like, fuck, I don't want to scare this pregnant woman, so I'm gonna wait till, I know for sure. I'm gonna just chill out. Maybe I'm just tripping. I'm in the kitchen, I'm at the table now. She puts the food in front of me. I still don't smell anything. So I'm like, fuck. But I can probably still taste something. Cut into the chicken, put it in my mouth, start chewing it. Can't taste anything. And I remember Fauci said, if you can't taste or smell, those are 2 symptoms of COVID. So I'm like, fuck. But I had a beer. So I'm gonna chug this beer and man up and tell this woman I got COVID and I don't know what's gonna happen now. So I chugged the beer, but I could taste all of it. So I just look her right in the face and just say, so you can't cook, huh? All this time I was out here loving and shit. I was never battle testing and stuff. Hey, you want to make me a sandwich? I never asked to do that shit. And it's my fault. I trapped her. I ain't gonna lie. I trapped the fuck out of her. When I got with her and she swiped right, her fault. I was over. What? She shouldn't have been talking to me. I dropped out of college my 3rd year. For no reason, no, I just dropped out of college. I know everything. I'm out of here. Stupid as fuck. She has a doctorate. She should have never spoke to me, ever. So the second she put me in the game, shoot. I'm like, what? Oh no, I'm in here. I'm gonna trap this one. Like, oh, I'm serious. It was so bad, I told her she was pregnant. Dead ass. I sent her a text message saying, hey, we need to talk. She's like, hey, what's up? I said, man, you're gonna be late. I'm sure of it. It's like, why would you say that? I said, man, you understand, last night I felt like Steph Curry shooting 3-pointers, man. Like, by the 3rd one, I turned my back and did a little shimmy towards the bathroom. No, it's my fault, because I got a microwave queen. It is what it is, I can't get mad at that shit. Got a family. And the worst part, not the worst part, the wildest part, the worst part on my behavior, I'll tell you right now, I used to be a wild hoe. Like, it's not even the best, it's a bad hoe. And in my hoe ways, we found out in the end of the world that I had a child already. And that was a fun experience to have. It was only weird because I had to tell my parents. Like, me and my girl, we worked it out because the math didn't get me killed. So I was like, oh, this math happened right before you. But ooh, it's play-by-play. It's like right there to play. Ha-ha. If I'd have met you a week earlier, we might have had a real conversation, but this is okay. The hardest part for me now is telling my parents that, I'm a whore and I'm very irresponsible with this shit. So I gotta just make sure I'm okay. So I tell my parents, hey, try to have breakfast with them. Like, hey, you guys want a second grandchild. Guess what? You got one. My mom was like, oh my gosh, she's pregnant. I said, no, this is more retroactive, if you will. And I explained to her what's happening, and my mom is sitting there, and she's just understanding it so well. I'm like, what the fuck? How is she cool with this? So, super cool. Then I thought about it, and I did the math. I'm 40. My parents been together for 43 years, but my sister is 8 months older than me with another woman. So I'm like, God, my mom was built for this shit. Like, she's been prepared for this apple not to fall far from the tree at all. Like, I am just like this dickhead. This is what it is. And it was only bad because when I told my parents, my dad's response was the same way. He like, I told you. I said, how the fuck did you know? Then I'm like, oh yeah, my sister, you right, my bad, bro. And when I finally got COVID, after having a family, it was when I got COVID, I was relieved. Because I was worried about getting COVID for a whole year. And I knew I was gonna catch COVID. Like, I knew I was gonna get COVID the second I saw how it was spelled. When I saw it was COVID and Corona, I'm like, man, everything with a C I ain't caught. I know I'm gonna catch this shit. I ain't had crabs, I ain't had chlamydia, COVID, give it here. Especially when I found out how COVID, how you get rid of it. It was like, yo, you gotta wait 2 weeks. I'm like, sophomore year all over again. It's gonna be easy. It's cakewalk. And when I got COVID, I got it and I had the Omicron, and I was already vaccinated, so it wasn't that bad. For real, it was me with a day. I had a fever for 2 days, and then for the next 12 days, I just acted like I had the same fever still. Because I know Fauci said you can't see your family, so I'm like, well, Fauci, I would be out here with y'all opening gifts and shit, but Fauci said I can't see y'all for the 10 days. Even my daughter's knocking on the door, Daddy. I said, you heard Fauci, get the fuck on, please. And I don't mind parenting. I don't mind it. But I know a few things about parenting now. If you have more than one child, you can't have a favorite. I don't have a favorite. I do know that much. If you have more than one, you can't have a favorite. But I also know that my youngest is not it. I don't have anything against her. I just know that if we had a ballot and everybody wrote down who they think my favorite is, if her name's on the ballot, just get rid of that shit. It don't matter. You know what I mean? And it's only because, my love is not unconditional. And she's so mean to me. So mean. I tried to see if I loved her unconditionally. I did a Simba test where it was 5:30 in the morning one day, everybody was asleep, I woke her up, I said, hey, come outside with me real quick. We go outside because the sun was coming up. And right when the sun was coming, sunrise, I lifted her up into the sunlight. And I'm thinking, if I see this beautiful, picture in this vision, I will love her so much. The sun hits her, I'm looking at her, and I'm waiting for the moment to happen. I'm sorry, man, let's go back to bed. I didn't mean to wake your ass up so early. And it's only because she lies and she's so smart, but not smart like book smart, smart like cunning smart, which is even scarier. She knows when to lie, which is she's only 3. That's scary to know that the truth is an idea you can play with? The first lie she ever told me that cracked my head, I was a mark. She picked me out of the crowd. It was 11:30 at night, and she started calling for me. Daddy, come here. And I'm like, what the fuck is she calling me for when she know mommy's in the house? You just saw mommy. What the fuck why are you calling me for? God damn. So I'm like, fuck it. I know if I don't show up now and be daddy, she'll call me John by the time she's 4. So I'm like, let me keep my title. So I'm like, hey, daddy's here. What do you need? It's like, I got a potty. I'm like, yo, man, it's 11:30 at night. You have a diaper on. The solution's right there. The fuck we doing here? Come on, man, go to bed. But I'm like, we potty training, so I gotta be a responsible person. So I get out the crib, put her on the potty, get the iPad out, put it in front of her, and I sit in the rocking chair. I'm 40 now. Second I stop moving, I'm like a shark. Second my knees got above that chair and I bent them, I blacked out. I don't remember nothing. When I finally came to, she's on the 5th season of Gabby's Dollhouse. And she now has downstairs toys around her. So I get so scared. I'm like, yo, because I know the downstairs toys means one thing. That means she took her little naked ass down the goddamn stairs unsupervised. Saw the toys she wanted to get, grabbed the toys, took her naked ass back upstairs, unsupervised, and was playing with shit. And I seen him, I'm like, oh my God. If she would have fell down the stairs, I would have had to lie and say I pushed her or some shit. Hear me out. I'll tell you why. If I'm crazy and I kick her because I'm mad at her, I go to therapy and maybe even jail. That's fine. That's fair. But if I was asleep and my girl found out that I was sleeping, the baby found out I was asleep, I could never sleep again. if I just yawn, she'd be an asshole. Where's the baby at? Come on, get the fuck on. Okay, I get it. Okay, I know. One time, just get over it. She's walking still. Get over it. So I see the down the toilet. I get started. I'm like, man, you was doing a lot of fun. So I'm like, did you potty? And she told me to lie. She said, not yet. I'm like, what the fuck do you know about yet? Like, you don't know how to say tomorrow correctly. You don't have a to-do list. The fuck you mean yet, ma'am? All right, you're stalling. It's time to go to bed. So when it's time to go to bed, man, I tried to reach for her, and she punked me. I did not mean to get punked, but she did it. I reached for her. She did one of these. I said, oh, shit, I don't want to beef. I'm sorry. I did a jab step. I'm grabbing her. She's scuffling with me. And she's like, no. I said, hey, I didn't ask you a question. It's time to go to bed. She's like, no. I said, hey, I didn't ask you a question. Calm down. And she raised her hand. And I'm like, what the fuck? I know there's no way in hell my bundle of joy would hit me or hurt me. And when I'm thinking this, I saw her hand twitch a little bit, and then my face is looking over here, and the side of my face is stinging, and my glasses are crooked. So I'm pissed now, because I'm like, this motherfucker swung, and it wasn't like she didn't just smack me. I could tell she closed her fist on the way down, too. It was this little stank on that thing. So I'm like, all right. But my pride hurts more than my face, like, because my glasses are crooked. Anybody with glasses on know, if you're trying to, like, scratch your nose and your finger on there and somebody hit your elbow and knock your glasses up, you ready to kill that motherfucker right then and there. So when she got my glasses crooked, I'm like, yo, I'm about to, I didn't drop her, by the way. I didn't do no crazy shit. I'm just like, yo, I can't believe she just fucking hit me. And I look over at her, and she's panicking now, and I realize why. She thinks she broke daddy's face. Because she's never surprised me and woke me up ever. I've always had my glasses on, dressed for the day when I see her, so she think this should come with the head. So she bugging out like, fix it. Got the tears coming down her face like, calm down, it's a teachable moment, just breathe, it's okay. I take my glasses off and say, hey, daddy can't really see that well, so I gotta wear these so I can see, like a cartoon character. She holds me in her hand, and she did some bullshit. She gonna look at him and say, I said, hey, look here, you're half of me, you're half of my second grade, don't do this. Like, you'll be blind in a minute. Then the wild shit happened. She's looking at him. She grabbed the other stem with her other arm and just extends her arms. And the joy she felt from the destruction she caused scared the fuck out of me because she was so happy. And then she started just folding them back and forth. I said, yo, what the fuck? Oh, my God. And like I said, I didn't drop her, okay? Because if you ever see the nanny cam footage, it's black and white, it's grainy. It might like I dropped her, but I did not. What I did do, I held her over the crib. I can't see that well, so I trust my other senses. I let her go. I listened for it. I hear her, do-do. That's head body. She in there. I'm like, all right, she's fine. I'm done with this shit. I gotta do it. I gotta see now. So I'm like, man, what the fuck I'm doing? I almost called my mom and late as fuck, like, hey, mom, you gotta come get this girl. She's broke my glasses on some bully shit. But man, I'm too old for that. I'm not gonna tell my mother. I'm gonna tell her mother, though. Fuck that. So, I wake my girl up. I'm like, hey, man, you gotta go with your daughter. She's like, what happened? I said, man, she just broke my glasses. And she chuckled first, which fucked me up. She's like, why'd she do that? The fuck you mean, why? I didn't challenge her or give her a motive, man. Help me out. Like, what the fuck? Say she go in the room, she showed me she don't care. She go in the room like, hey, your dad told me what happened. He's not very happy right now. He said you can't have the iPad anymore. Why so much he and him on that situation? What happened to us and we, my nigga? Come on, what the fuck? I'm like, come on, man, I ain't asked for all this. Now I got an enemy in the house I ain't asked for. It's like living with a Chucky doll, bro. This shit's crazy. I'm in the kitchen. I close the fridge. I'm walking into the living room, and I see just half her head looking at me, and she scampers off. I'm like, this motherfucker plotting. I know what that means. I was trying to get a house the other day. She had Lego blocks in my shoes and shit. I'm like, oh, man. It's only a matter of time she got the 5-year-old Lego blocks. She don't got the good ones yet. It's only a matter of time she advances her attacks. She don't have tax and poison in no time. I'm not about to deal with this shit, no. I'm exhausted. It got so bad, I did some research on child support. I'm serious. Because everybody complain about child support like it's so bad of a thing. I looked up child support, and I'm like, what the fuck? How are men so mad at child support? Like, you mean to tell me I could pay once a month and not be here? Give me the summer off. Come on, the fuck? Give me 3 months at least. This is crazy. I don't want to leave my family, but if I don't. But if I could do it over again, I don't like regret anything about it, but I would adopt 2 white boys instead of, like, I got 2 daughters. I'm great with the 2 daughters, but I'd rather have 2 white boys just because being a black father is stressful and exhausting. If I could be the father of white children, the amount of pressure that would be lifted from my shoulders would be so great. Think about it. Think about the last time you ever saw a white person that was wilding the fuck out in public, and you're like, where was his father? You never say that. You never say that about a white person. Black people all the time. Where's his dad at? You all got that dumb shit. Like, no, if I could be a father of white children, the stress I would not deal with. Plus, you can be a bad father with white kids. Think about it. People had the worst dad for a long time. The poster child for bad dad was Joe Jackson for so long. That's crazy. Joe Jackson made 7 famous people. Jackson 5, Janet, LaToya. That's 5. That's 7. You can't beat that. That's not even a bad father. You know who's a bad father? Lionel Dahmer. He has a son named Jeffrey, if you didn't know that. Lionel actually lives in Ohio right now. And we're like, yo, you can say what you want about the bad dad shit, but think about it. Like, Michael Jackson had rumors of what he did to children, maybe. We know Jeffrey did that shit. So I'm like, yo, if I had some white kids, my life would be so stress-free. Plus, I have a dream. I want to own white people, and the only way to do it is through adoption. That's the only way I've seen you can do it is through adoption. Hear me out. Adoption paper, freedom paper, I signed for it, it's mine, same thing. And I hear y'all getting kind of tight. I wouldn't be weird and have an Epstein Island situation going on or a whole plantation full of white babies. It would just be 2, just 2 white babies, just the Tim Taylor type. You know, I like them home improvement white boys, the blonde hair, blue-eyed good ones, you know? But I wouldn't go crazy. I wouldn't get a lot. I would only have the 2, just the 2. You can give me 2, I think that's fine. Just 1 for the house, 1 for the field. Because being a father drove me, I hate to admit this, I've now become a junkie because of being a father. Like, I started smoking weed finally. At 38, I started smoking weed. I'm 40 now. I don't know if that's clappable, but I'll take it. And the reason I started smoking, I was exhausted. I was so tired of everything. I didn't want to die or anything, but I just didn't give a fuck about anything. I was drinking. I didn't figure smoking's right there with it. I was after a show, and the comic was outside smoking. Like, hey, you want some? I'm like, I'm vaccinated. Fuck it, give it here. Only thing is, I didn't know about smoking for real. Only thing I knew about smoking is they said Bill Clinton, they asked him, yo, did you ever smoke? He said, I didn't inhale. And everybody said, oh, you ain't really smoked then. So I knew you gotta inhale. So I'm gonna inhale the fuck out of this. He gave me the blunt. I'm like, cool. When I finally came to, it was weird when I finally got my focus and shit, my bearing straight. Every time I would exhale, smoke was still coming out my mouth. So I'm like, I'm a dragon now. This shit fun. Yeah, let's do it. Then I got more paranoid from the weed, and I started to realize what I just did. I'm like, yo, you ain't even know that dude. Like, he wasn't on the show. You just know he's a comic. He told you, but you don't fucking know this guy. And also, the blunt was already kind of wet on his end when he gave it to you. So, like, who are you, John? You don't want to be out here fucking exchanging bodily fluids with dudes and doing drugs. That's some Richard Pryor shit. You ain't that kind of funny. Like, Pryor was funny. I'm ha-ha funny. I ain't trying to do all that shit. So I'm like, man, you can't be out here with strange men doing drugs. But I still want to do drugs. Only problem is Cleveland, we don't have, dispensaries and stuff. But what we do have is shopping plazas and gas stations. Before I started buying weed, I did not know that when a dude was walking by, like, I got that loud, got that fire, it wasn't a mixtape. All this time, I'm like, I don't want your music, sir. I'm okay. So I go to this gas station around the house, and I see the marijuana man. So I'm like, hey, I want to get some weed. So I'm like, hey, I'm trying to get some weed, man. And like, how much? And I'm like, fuck. Because in all my research I did before I bought the drugs, I didn't see any of this happening. I'm like, in The Wire, they don't talk this much, bro. Like, in The Wire, it's like, I got the okie dokie. Dude walk up, dude walk away. They don't talk that much. And in Snowfall, the other show I watched, that dude's buying kilos of cocaine. A kilo is 2.2 pounds in the metric system. I don't need that much marijuana. I know that right now. Like, I'm a novice. I need a single serving. So I asked for the weed, but the only apparent reference I have is outdated. So I'm like, yo, well, shit, can I get a dime bag? I didn't expect the drug dealer to start laughing either. Like, we don't say like that no more, old school. I said, okay, I don't need the nicknames. Just tell me I'm wrong, man. I don't need the nicknames. I'm like, well, what's the smallest quantity you can sell it to me then? Like, I can sell you an eighth. I said, the fuck, you can't sell a fraction, my guy. Like, Like an eighth. No, I ain't bought a whole thing before, and I ain't bought half of some shit. I ain't never bought an eighth of nothing. That's a piece of weed. Nope, I'm not buying it. He's like, no, it's an eighth ounce. I said, well, how much is that? No, it's 3.5 grams. I said, I don't give a fuck about the math no more, bro. How much does it cost? And this is when the bullshit happened. Because he looked at me first. Like, shit, for you? What the fuck? What do you mean for me? Like, you just met me today right now. You're not gonna look out for me. I felt the razzle-dazzle price coming the second he said that. So I'm like, well, shit, man, how much for me? He's like, well, shit, give me 80. I'm like, well, hold on. Like, this is my first time buying weed, but not buying anything. I shop around. So I called my cousin Nate, who sell real drugs. So I'm like, yo, Nate, I'm about to buy an eighth of marijuana. How much should I pay for it? He's like, it's some good? I said, bro, it's my first time. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be great. Like, well, shit, I wouldn't spend no more than 40 on it. I said, cool. Hang the phone up, turn to the drug dealer. Yeah, my cousin said 40. Looking right in my face, drug dealer says, cool. I can name my own price in this bitch? What the oh my God. I could have said 30. I wasn't on speakerphone. He couldn't hear him. I could have said whatever price. I fucked that up. That's on me. That's on me. So I gave him the money, and then he gave me the weed, and I ran to my car. I didn't run to my car. I walked really fast in my car in a cool, tough guy manner. And when I got in the car, I opened my hand, and I expected to see the sprinkle weed you see in Friday, where they sprinkle it right in the joint, ready to roll it up. I didn't expect to see the organic form of marijuana, Like, I didn't want the pine cone chunks and shit. So I try and call my cousin back. He don't pick the phone up. He don't text me back. Fuck you, the feds. I said, no, bro, I'm lost. Help me. I'm trying to do drugs here. Like, this is your thing, isn't it? I'm trying to do drugs. Help me out. So I'm like, well, fuck, he ain't answering the phone. I'm going to just Google how to roll a joint. And while you laughing, the second I Googled it, a video popped up with 17 million views. So I am not the only person watching this shit. When I seen that video, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be a masterclass of marijuana. I'm gonna know so much about weed. I cut the video on. I got dejected so fast because the dude in the video had equipment. I ain't got none of this shit. Like, he put out a container, had a grinder and all this shit. I'm like, man, I don't got none of this. So fast forward, 1 o'clock in the morning, everybody in the house sleep. I'm in the kitchen with the pepper shaker in my hand. And I just emptied it out, and the pepper's in a pile in front of me, and the weed's next to it. I'm holding a pepper shaker thinking, how much of a junkie am I on my first time to try and put the weed in the little pepper shaker, grind it up, and try and empty it back out or some shit. But man, that's too much work, and I don't want to contaminate the whole house with weed, so I can't do that shit. So like, what will I use to crunch this shit up? I'm like, what will MacGyver do? And I got a shot glass, and I got a butter knife. I put a chunk in the shot glass. I got a butter knife, so I'm trying to crunch like an Amish person making butter, trying to puree the trunks just enough. And I got them crunchy enough to be like sprinkle weed. So I try and sprinkle it to the joint, and no one tells you the skill level it takes to use drugs. Like, to smoke weed, you have to know origami, okay? If you can't make a fucking dove out of a napkin, you can't roll a joint. I tell you that right now. Because I'm trying to roll this thing up, watch it do in the video. He making it seem so easy. He just bang, 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 he done with it. I'm rolling up. I know I'm horrible because my shit got a fold in the middle. He ain't got no folds in his. So I'm like, man, I'm trying to seal it too because you got to lick it to seal it. Like I said, I'm a hoe, so I'm licking shit way too aggressively. Like, every time I lick it, it's like I'm spitting out pubic hair and she's like, that. I got so frustrated, man, I just grabbed a spoon and did some shit I seen in the movie and did like heroin. Just start trying to freebase the marijuana and see how it works. And all of this, I know I shouldn't be this stressed out. I mean, drugs might not be the answer, but what else I'm gonna do? I'm not going back to the streets, right? I'm never gonna be single again. Like, if my girl tried to leave me, she might die first. I don't know how she's gonna die first, but she's not leaving me, because I'm never gonna be single again. I've seen what's out there. Have you seen, you know they got OnlyFans now? Have you hip to this shit? This OnlyFans shit? OnlyFans is hilarious. OnlyFans, he said, no, not at all. With that mustache, I'm sorry. With that mustache, you know what OnlyFans is. But yeah, OnlyFans made me say, oh, I'm never gonna be single out here. Because when I seen girls have OnlyFans pages, that wasn't the part that really broke my heart and lost hope for women. It wasn't until I got on Twitter and I would see women have a sale on their nudes. Like, how bad is business going that you now have clearance cooch on your menu? Like, I don't want no 30% off. What the fuck, what, how is that happening? Is that a self-esteem thing? Like, I don't want to be out here with these type of women. No, I'm good with mine. I'm good with my Dr. Leah, Dr. Bay. Only problem with her, a girl with a doctorate is very rough because, I won't say a girl, I'll say anybody with a doctorate. They think they know everything. And you have to explain to them sometimes, like, hey, you know one thing really well. You don't know all the shits. You know one thing. And it got rough because she knew I dropped out, and I'm not the smartest. That's fine. It's even harder to have like an argument with somebody, you misspelling shit, and they would correct you during it with a little asterisk first. Like, I think you meant this. All right. Like, fine, I'll see you when I see you. I'm gonna sound like fucking Mel Gibson when I see you. Because every time she would tell me something, she would always say, I know. And that would always get to me. Because it would be the littlest shit, and it's like, sometimes you don't know for real. Like, the first time she did it to me that made me really get mad, it was the smallest thing, but it was like, hey, like we were all in the living room, she was playing with the baby, but she had her juice, freshly poured cup of juice on the TV tray. Baby's playing around all the TV tray, just playing all around it. Then they're climbing under it. I'm like, hey, move your juice so you don't spill it. Her response was, I know how to drink juice, okay? I've been drinking juice way longer than, I know how to drink some fucking juice. I'm not gonna spill it. I go into the kitchen. No less than 2 seconds later, I hear my daughter say, uh-oh. And the trick with her is she says uh-oh before she fucks some shit up. So I heard uh-oh, then I heard the crash of the TV tray. And I go into the living room and I see just the juice on the carpet. And now, we tried to clean it up, we couldn't. So now it's crunchy as fuck carpet right there because she knew. Another time she did it, which almost made me, I almost lost it, is when she first moved in. Apparently all my appliances were okay when we were dating, but when she moved in, all my shit had to go now. And I fought back, because the first thing she ordered was a stove. And the reason that made me upset was because I had her cooking already. So I was kind of like, word, this stove is not good enough, that's what it was? All right, okay. I said, well, fine, I'll pick the stove up if you find one. You just find it for me, because I'm not gonna look for a stove. My stove is fine. You want to get another stove? You find a stove, I'll get it. This educated person who has a job, a career even, looks on Facebook Marketplace for the fucking stove. I'm like, why, if you do not have your first apartment ever, or a homeless shelter woman, like, why are you buying appliances secondhand from Facebook, no less? Best Buy, you passed bestbuy.com to get here. What are you doing? But she bought it, I'm like, fine. I mean, I bought it. She found it. I go pick it up. I bring it to the house. And this is when the I know really kicked my ass. Because when I first told her, hey, before you get the stove, make sure you measure it. It's like, I know how to measure a stove, okay? I said, my bad. I get to the house with the dolly, stove on the dolly, get to the door, boom. So I'm like, all right, let me try and turn it to the side, turn the stove to the side, boom. I said, all right, this is not how this works. I said, there's no other way in the house besides the door. There's no fucking airlift in this bitch. So I just texted her, I said, hey, when you measured the stove, where did you measure? She's like, oh, I measured where it's gonna go. It's big enough. I said, did you measure it getting in the fucking door? Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, you didn't know something. Get the fuck out of here, really? Oh my God. Huh. The littlest things this dropout knows. But I didn't want to be a terrorist to her the whole time. So when the world finally opened back up and quarantine was over, we went to Essence Fest. It was like a finally out the house thing. Even their campaign that year was outside. We outside. I'm like, hell yeah, we outside. It was cool in New Orleans. The first night we got there, I kind of wanted to leave her. The second we get to the restaurant, first night we there, she's complaining so much. And I get it. She's in a sorority. That's what they do. They're very prissy. I understand the whole, if it ain't right, I gotta say something shit. But when you're not paying for it, why? Because I got mad at her. I'm like, hey, you're awfully poor and particular in this scenario. Those two can't go together. And she's like, I'll pay for my own food then. I said, you won't, so don't do that shit. And I'll tell you this, if you're in a relationship, the biggest lie I've ever heard my girl say was, I'll pay you back. I'm like, with what? That coochie from Tuesday? All right. Give it here then. More retroactive. So we at Essence Fest and we get to dinner. I'm mad at her, so I'm like, you know what? The concert tomorrow, I'm not talking to her anymore. I don't want to have any more fights. I don't want to say no stupid shit, so I'm just going to give her the silent treatment. It's better not say anything, and you wonder if I'm mad, then you know I'm mad. So I'm like, fuck this. But I did bring a secret weapon. As a hoe, I had a secret outfit I brought with me because it is Essence Fest. So I had this little cute little button-up shirt and these tight white pants. And I'm talking about white boy tight, not like regular, like Lil Wayne in his prime tight. Like you can see my calves in the jeans. It was so bad I had to start by laying down to put them on, then to hop to get them on. And I had to get these hoe jeans, because these jeans, they was white too, and they had the perfect bulge. I'm talking about you could see everything about me. Only problem was they were so tight I couldn't put anything in my pockets, except for the room key, and I held my phone like a teenager the whole time. I'm like, I'll just Apple Pay everything if I gotta buy some shit. I don't give a fuck. I'm not talking to you though. I'll leave everything else in the room. We go to the Essence Fest, and at this point, I'm just drinking whatever I see. I started drinking gin at one spot. I drank Hennessy at another. I'd never drank Hennessy before, but boy, oh boy, I kind of like it now. By the time Drew Hill came out as a surprise guest, I was wasted. I was so gone, I had 2 hurricanes with 2 straws in my mouth on some goofy shit. Just drinking them both. When Drew Hill came out, they had Cisco. Now, I've never seen Cisco live. I never thought I wanted to see Cisco live. I needed to see Cisco live. Like when he came out there, they started doing all the shit. They did the thing. Oh, I was so drunk. I was trying to do it too. But those pants were so fucking tight. I know it was tight when I was coming down the stairs. I couldn't come down the stairs regular. I had to do a little side step to get down the stairs. And it was like, oh, this is too much. But when I seen Drew Hill come out there and start doing the dance, I tried it. But all I could do was this shit. And I was drunk, so I'll say this. When you have asthma and you start binge drinking, your respiratory system will give out on you. So I'm sitting down now with Drew Hill, drinking my one Hurricanes left at this point. I drank the other one already. And I'm like, I'm about to fucking die. I know this. So I said, I don't want her to get startled and shit, so I'm just gonna tell her the end is near. So I run to my phone, hey, I left my inhaler. I've been drinking a lot, and I'm having an asthma attack. I might not make it. So I just hand her my phone, and I just close my eyes, and I get ready to welcome death. Then I get a little pat on my shoulder, and I look up at her, and she has my inhaler in her hand. And I'm looking at her with so much, I'm like, oh my God, how did you? And she, before I can even finish the thought, she's like, I know. I said, look here, motherfucker. Got one right. Thank y'all for coming out. Good night.